it though.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Five, four, three, two, one. Welcome to the White Chili Podcast, episode number 2. It's me, Tarek,
And me, Doug.
Easy. So what we're going to do today is we're going to, a little bit of a switch in tone really, because of what's been happening in the last couple of weeks. So before we go into anything, I wanted to just play a quick excerpt of something, and then we're going to kind of talk about it. So let's just play it quickly and then see what we have to say after it.
I'm always sick. I don't know. I can't do anything. See all of this. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10. I can't even do anything this morning. I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't. I'm just a kid. I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? My family said they just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. Why does Muslims act for you like that? We're just kids. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair. It's not fair.
Her name was Nadia, and this was filmed a few days ago in Gaza City. And young Nadia there is talking just after a missile attack by the Israeli army on her neighbor's house. And we're not going to play the video as such, but just to contextualize it a little bit, a missile attack on her neighbor's house. And as a result of that missile attack, 8 people were killed. 6 of them were children. And there's the human tragedy of what's happening in Gaza. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that again in Doug's here. And I'm just going to stop it at certain points. And I want to just get your opinion on what she's saying. Both me and you worked in the West Bank. We lived in the West Bank. So I'd really like to know what you think, and what feelings, what emotions, what kind of context we can put around what young Nadia is saying. So I'm just going to play it again.
I'm always sick. I don't know. I can't do anything. See all of this.
She says, I'm sick. I don't know. Look around me. And she points to this heap of rubble, and there's the human tragedy of this. It's a young girl with dreams and aspirations like all other children, right? Dreams, aspirations, hopes. And she's stuck in the middle of this thing, right? And she's looking back, she's looking at a destroyed house. In her mind is this idea of probably 6 children she played with.
Of course.
And she says, I'm sick. What is that sickness, you think? What is she talking about? It's trauma, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, and she'll never really get over that.
Yeah. Is it possible to get over that, you think?
You'll never forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things just imprint in your mind that whole scenario. I look at this and I hear it, and that's what it resonates with me. And I think it's resonated with a lot of people.
And, there's a lot more going on that transpired before the bombing and will continue on for probably, her childhood. And that's the lack of infrastructure, the lack of medical care. The hospitals were even bombed. Yeah. I mean, she is sick.
Yeah.
And there's like 95% of the water is polluted. They can't,
Undrinkable.
Yeah, undrinkable. They've bombed the water treatment plants, the desalination plants that they rely on. Other water has been confiscated basically through, the wall and so on. So, plus,
And she looks back and she's appealing to the world. She's saying, I'm sick, I don't know what to do, And it's like a kind of heart-wrenching appeal. It's like saying, look at me, look at this, and I appeal to your humanity. This isn't, there's something very deeply human about what she's saying.
Right, and we get caught up in trying to analyze the history and the context of it and who's wrong here and so on. But just like with George Floyd, and you were saying this, I mean, if you see a police officer with a knee on a neck, you don't have to analyze.
There's no history.
You just
no
say,
necessity.
That's wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong.
And this is wrong.
Yeah.
You don't bomb someone's house and kill children intentionally.
Yeah. And I'm going to play this a little bit further. So she says, you see this all, you see it, and she's pointing to this rubble. Now just contextualize, put yourself in her position. You're a child, you're 10, and the house next door to you has just been missiled, and six children and 2 adults have been killed as a result, right? And she's looking back, she says, you see this?
What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10.
There's hopelessness there.
You want me to fix it? She's 10.
Is she to blame?
Yeah.
What has she done?
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. This is where I think the essence of the humanity of the situation gets lost. This notion of there's someone to blame here, therefore there's a justification for this stuff. Do you get me?
That's right. And this is something that the Israelis would not want played on mainstream television, and it's not played.
Yeah. And when she says that, you want me to fix it? She's 10. And she's literally speaking her mind. There's no propaganda here. There's no mystification. There's no disinformation. There's tears in her eyes. She's pointing. She's saying, do you want me to fix it? What do you want me to do? You bomb, they say, we target civilian areas. Now, let's just get one thing clear here so that, everyone understands this. Gaza is the Gaza Strip, a strip of land. It's 25 miles long and 7 miles wide, okay? So let's just get that clear. When they say that, we're attacking military targets, there are no military targets. It's all residential civilian areas. There are no empty areas. If they're bombing civilian areas. It's simple as that. 2 million people within a strip of land 25 miles by 7, one of the most densely populated places on earth. You bomb in there, you're going to kill kids. Half of those 2 million people in Gaza are children.
That's right.
When you target those areas, you are killing children intentionally, with intent.
And the Israelis control the crossing, the border. The Palestinians, the Gazans cannot leave.
Yeah,
they cannot.
Yeah, there is nowhere to go.
You cannot get through the crossings. You can't go into Egypt. You can't go into Israel. So
yeah, and you can't go into the sea.
That's right.
That's your choices. You got Egypt, you got Israel, and you got the sea. Either that or you go in the air. Now everything there is under Israeli control. The air, the sea, the borders, even the Egyptian border is in that they take orders of the Israelis who gets in, who goes out. So there, it gets closed off, which it is. It's a closed area.
It's referred to as an open-air prison, the largest in the world. And that's essentially what it is.
And you know, let's call it for what it is. Let's call it for what it is. The Israelis are overseeing the world's largest concentration camp. Let's say that again. It's the world's largest concentration camp. And just saying that, just see how that resonates. Concentration camp. The ones who were in it are now overseeing one. This is the human tragedy of this stuff. And let's just go back to this again and then see what Nadia has to say. And let's see where this takes us.
I can't even do anything this morning. I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't.
She can't even help. I mean, you know, can you imagine that state of hopelessness?
Right.
I mean, when you're that hopeless, I just can't.
And when you're a child, you have dreams.
Yeah.
And she's saying she has dreams of being a doctor. But what are her chances? And even to live another year, you know?
And you know something, the oft not talked about fact is that you know that the Gaza has been under blockade for how long now? I mean, there's so many years you can't even, you know, when you start getting into the statistics of this stuff, it's overwhelming, but it's there to confuse people. But you imagine, medicines are controlled to get in, doctors are being targeted, you know, hospitals are being targeted, you know, and here's a young girl, 10 years of age, she wants a life, she's just like you and me when we were children, right?
That's right.
You know, we have dreams, we have aspirations, we have hopes. And you crush them like that, and somehow we build some kind of narrative around that to say, you know, let's look for who's to blame in that. Let's see this. I mean, you know, for a second, just touch base with, you know, what Nadia is just one amongst many. Right now, the numbers are just astronomical. I mean, it's over 200 people are dead. Almost 70 are children. If nothing more needs to be said, that statistic alone says it all, right?
Yeah.
As a kid, I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just terrified.
No. You know, there is something that you know, no amount of bombs ever going to put that out. You see, she said, I'm scared, but not that much, and I'll do anything for my people.
Right. That level of violence, when you live that, it becomes normalized.
Yeah.
That becomes your sense of equilibrium is altered. So you don't relate to stress in a healthy way after that.
And you know what I think? Also, I think about that. You know, when she says that, she says, I'm scared, but not that much. What she's basically saying is, no matter what you do to me, it ain't going to put any fear into me. You can keep doing it, but you ain't going to put it out. You're not going to put out that sense of me being who I am and being what I want to be. You know, you cannot, you know, this is what, you know, the kind of collective punishment, these strategies and mechanisms of murder, incarceration, kidnapping, torture, it doesn't matter how much they do. This is what she says, like, what do you actually want us to do? Because we ain't going away. We're never going to stop struggling. We're never going to stop fighting this stuff. You can do what you want. You know, I will do anything to help my people. She says it's a clear statement there. You know, you're not going to put it out.
I'm just 10. All of this, when I see, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this?
What did they do, Doug? Can you tell me what they did? I mean, you know, we wanted to talk a little about the history. What did the Palestinians do exactly to deserve this?
Well, they occupied land that the Israelis wanted. I mean, that's their crime. And they're not willing to succumb or give up what's rightfully theirs. And there's a big misunderstanding, especially in the U.S. The history is very clouded, and it's presented as controversial, but it's not. It's not controversial. The Palestinians have always lived there. The idea that they weren't there, but they came after the Israelis had made the desert bloom, that's just a mythology that's been created. Even mainstream historians in Israel admit that
everyone knows.
Everyone knows. I mean,
Everyone knows.
Very well documented history.
If you don't know the truth, you're deluded. You need to inform yourself.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. But most people in America don't take the time to do that. They just take what's coming over the mainstream news stations and so on, and it's just to keep them in perpetual confusion.
But I mean, I'm going to ask you a question, Doug. Does it require, some kind of, does Nadia require, I mean, if she's speaking, why is it that they can see George Floyd and see that as unjust? But a 10-year-old girl who's had a house bomb next to her with 6 children inside, what I often think is that thing, it's just racism. In the mind somewhere is that these people, they're a different color, they're exotic. We don't know, we don't have any kind of solidarity. We don't know who they are. They're just the Arabs or the Muslims or something. So they obviously deserve what they get. Something underpinning that mindset.
There's this idea of collateral damage that while it's not ideal, it's necessary for a higher purpose. That's what's going on here, I think. But I would hope that a video like this, because we're not showing the actual girl, the video, but I think that's reaching a large audience, and there's this new age of technology where everyone has a camera. That's why George Floyd's situation came to the forefront, is because it was filmed, and it's brought a lot of attention on the crimes of the police force and militarized police. But I think this might also
change.
It could. I think.
We need to give hope, because this is beyond a situation which any human being, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what political affiliation you have, what color you are, what religion you are. It's not about that.
That's right.
At all. This is literally just a basic appeal to your sense of who you are as a human being. That's it. It's very simple. There is nothing here that that says to you that you need to build a narrative around this somehow. It is really that simple. When you really look and you think deeply into it, if you connect with this idea, then it's a very simple idea.
Yeah.
Like there's a horror, there's a human tragedy, it's as simple as this. How would I feel? Just ask yourself that question. How would I feel at 10 years of age? Just like, how would I feel if someone put their knee on my neck for 10 minutes, right? How would I feel, right? So how does she feel? How does she feel? What is she saying? I mean, is this propaganda?
Well, we should, look at what ideas are floating around. There is the idea that, yes, this is a tragedy. It's collateral damage, but if only the Palestinians would stop X, Y, and Z, then this would stop. And I think, maybe that's worth addressing.
If only the Palestinians. So we've got, it's a very simple equation again. You got 2 players, right? 2 players. One, armless, doesn't have anything, no arms, no army, no state, right? Sitting there, dispossessed, refugees. These are all refugees who are dispossessed, right? And on the other hand, you have a military nuclear power, one of the most well-funded military armies in the world.
To the tune of $2 to $3 billion a year by the U.S.
Yeah, right. So there you've got the 2 things. So you've got the Gaza Strip, 2 million people in a 25 mile by 7 mile strip of land, caged in, no infrastructure, 50% unemployment, 80% relying on welfare aid,
Food rations.
no ability to go out, come in, move. So you've got that on one side. Largely, I mean, I'll say it again, 50% are children. 50%. So you got a population of 2 million, 1 million children, okay, caged in, with no rights, no ability to, have a normal human functioning life. Like a normal human functioning life, the ability to move, the ability to, a right to education, a right to health care, a right to just be together with your family, to enjoy a peaceful life, right? The right to move, right? I mean, that's on one end. And then on the other end, you've got a nuclear power and a terror state.
And Gaza is disconnected geographically from the West Bank.
That's right.
So, I mean, by quite a bit of distance. And forget about having any kind of contiguous state of their own.
Right.
That's now off the table as far as I'm concerned. It would be impossible at this point.
And that's the thing. So when you ask that question, like when you ask, like, the Palestinians are doing X, and if only they stop doing X, then Y would happen. It's just, firstly, you've got to look at the situation, the disparity of power. Who are we talking about? And
who's the aggressor?
Yeah, who's the aggressor, and what's the power relationship here? You are equating the raper with the rapee.
That's right.
This is what you're doing. You're saying, she's struggling, so therefore somehow the raper is justified.
Look at the disparity in deaths. It's always that way. It's usually 5 to 1, 6 to 1. In this case, it's 230 to 7. No, there were 12.
Yeah. 12. And to be very frank with you, when they say 12, I take nothing. Nothing. We within the West Bank, I take nothing, they say. Not the casualty figures. They are, master propagandists. And everything that they say you should take with a pinch of salt, There is a human tragedy unfolding. We can go into the intricacies of different things, but it's apparent, it's obvious. It's so obvious, it's blatant. When I first went to the West Bank, when I remember touching down in Jordan and then crossing the border and going to Afula. Mm-hmm. Do you remember Afula in Israel?
Yeah.
Going to Afula and then taking a taxi from Afula to Jalameh. Jalameh, which is a crossing, it's a checkpoint into the West Bank. Now, if you want to ever see what this is all about, you stand at Jalameh checkpoint. You just need to stand there and just look at the what's on both sides of this line.
That's
just
right.
Have a look.
Yeah.
Just stand at that line.
Two different worlds.
Yeah. Just stand at the line between Israel and the occupied territory. Just stand right on the line. And you could literally look left and you will see developments and housing and green fields on one side. Paved roads. Everything there.
Street lights.
Everything.
Modern cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then look right and you will see devastation. Literally. Right in front of you. Concrete box, barbed wire. You'll see arid areas. On left and right, there's a wall and a fence and electric caging. And it's just literally as bare as that. You can see it. It's clear. There's no need to get into anything else other than when I arrived at that checkpoint, I was like, what the hell is going on here? I literally thought there was be some kind of transition, like you're moving from one place to another, and there'll be some kind of transition. When you enter a country, they always kind of make that little area, kind of inviting or hospitable or something, Like, and there's no capacity to do that because the whole area is occupied.
And you can never walk up to the wall.
Yeah.
You know, anywhere you go. You go up to the wall, even just, you know, as close as I am to you, they're going to be screaming and, you know. So, I mean, yeah, it's an abrupt change.
It's an abrupt
From
change.
the wall.
And that's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. It's like that literally became the reality of what you then see. Because as soon as you get past that line, you're literally in another world, you know. Everything is consumed by this occupation. You know, just like she says, you know. She says, I'm sick, I don't know what to do. You know. I felt like that when I was in the West Bank. We spent like 3 years there, right?
2.5 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 years I spent there. You spent 2.5. What could you do exactly?
You see everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, you know, I don't know if people want to hear it, but I mean, we've seen it all, right?
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. And, you know, that's the whole thing. That's the tragedy of this, is there isn't a well-oiled machine that's putting out that reality to people to really understand. Now, I was watching Abby Martin the other day, you know, and she had this trip to the West Bank. I don't know if you watched it.
I
Did you see it?
I didn't
No?
see that, no.
And, you know, I really, you know, felt for what she was saying. You know, she said, literally, I went to this place and I saw what was going on. And, you know, it's not like me and you. We obviously stayed there long enough to desensitize to what we were doing and what was happening around us, right?
It became normalized.
Normalized, right? Yeah, because it becomes normalized. You know, this is what happens. I mean, you live your daily life, you see this backdrop of occupation, so you're there and you say, there's a checkpoint, okay, I'll find a way around.
And you spend time with the soldiers because they're always around you.
Yeah.
And you know, some are from America and you end up talking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it all becomes normalized somewhere. But in the reality of that situation, she talked about it when she said, you know, I went to the West Bank and she was horrified just by the checkpoints.
Oh.
Just by the checkpoint.
Oh,
She was
dealt with
like,
that every day.
yeah. But she was like, you know, I saw checkpoints. You know, my movement was restricted.
Yeah.
You know, she went to Kalandia checkpoint in Ramallah. And, you know, that series of cages and corridors
that's
and
one of the
iron
biggest
bars.
ones, yeah.
Right. And it's just like this, it's like a chicken run that you have to go through.
It's humiliating.
Yeah, humiliating at the nth degree, you know. And she looked like that, and she called a spade, you know. And I was really impressed by it because I thought, I can't talk about it like that. You know, she literally said, you're like some kind of human rat who's going through this series of cages and points to, you know, be checked and, you know, and wire and, you know, turnstiles.
But that she and you and I could move between sections, or, you know, I refer to them as Bantustans because that's what they are. They're areas where the Palestinians reside, and they're stuck to that area.
Yeah.
And they cannot move to another area within their own territory without permission. And so they're lucky to get to Kalandia checkpoint. That would be maybe a privilege. And then to go through this chicken run.
Yeah.
It's
and you know what she said? Imagine, we were there for so long. Most of the people we ever met had never been to Jerusalem.
That's right. That's right, yeah.
Right. Had never, ever in their lives been to Jerusalem because it was almost like a, you know, Willy Wonka's golden ticket. That if you ever got a pass to go to Jerusalem.
Yeah, that was,
To Al-Quds, right?
I forgot about that. But
Yeah, can you imagine? And all of these people, they're in the you know, within, you know, a little distance of the third holiest site in Islam. And they couldn't go because the place was closed off. I mean, literally every entry point into Jerusalem, there was a checkpoint. If there wasn't a checkpoint, there was a wall.
Yeah, you had to go through Kalandia checkpoint to get to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
That was the big barrier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you know, like we were there for that long. It's somehow, you know,
Now this is the West Bank. This is considered by Palestinian territory.
Yeah.
So if you look in the map, you say, well, they have this small chunk of. They don't even have that. They can't
don't
even
have.
move on that.
Yeah.
They literally have to stay in their neighborhood.
And that's, I mean, that thing, they talk about a two-state solution.
Right.
I mean, what are you doing? I mean, that's insanity. There is no state.
I mean, if you look back at like Clinton's brokering, the 90s of the peace agreement, this is all a farce. I mean, but back then the Palestinians rightfully walked away from that, and then there's that line: the Palestinians never pass up an opportunity to pass up an opportunity. There's that they did every couple of years to, just pump out this mythology of, But the reason they walked away every time is because without control of your airspace, without control of your borders, without control of your resources like water and electricity and so on, you can't have a state.
You can't have a state.
And so what was offered them was, here's a piece of land with the controls that we have, which we've just described.
And you should have no military, you should have no security,
Right.
You have no control over the air, you have no control over
You
everything.
don't say who comes in or who goes out or when or right. So
And this is your state.
There you go.
There you go. And what we'll do is we'll build settlements right around you. And then, that they're overlooking you. We'll take your water, control your
Well, the
electricity.
water's already
everything.
gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's already gone because the wall, which is understood in America as delineating Israeli territory from Palestinian territory, is not that at all. In fact, it encroaches and takes the water resources. There's a strategy behind this.
Yeah. And that's what I'm constantly, wrestling with this idea. We see what that has meant, we know what it means,
We lived it.
and what it means when they talk about, negotiations, a settlement, a peaceful settlement, two states. There is nothing that the Israelis are going to put on the table. This is now just about Jewish supremacy, right? It's about Jewish supremacy over an area from the Mediterranean Sea to the Jordan River.
Well, that reminds me of Finkelstein. He was saying something similar as that. No, it was Human Rights Watch had a ruling.
And he was reporting on what Finkelstein was,
Yeah, that, forget the two-state solution. What we have here is not an occupation, it's a confiscation of land.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a way to dominate the land from the river to the sea.
That's right.
That's what it's about. This is an ethno-racist state that's expanding its borders and wants to make life difficult, almost unbearable for those who are not Jewish. This is what it's about. At the end, that's what it is. It's about the confiscation of land. It's about taking territory. It's about forced evictions. It's about demolitions. It's about the building of settlements. It's about making life so unbearable that people just have to think about leaving. But they ain't leaving. No one ain't leaving. That's the whole problem.
Now, it's, again, I'm hearing the voices of Americans, some that I know, and who would say, but listen, this is in violation of international law. If you care about international law, you have to object to this. You cannot keep territory that was conquered in war. That's illegal, right?
Right.
So,
Right. But there you go. I mean, on every level, whether you look at this as a judicial issue, as a legal issue, as a humanitarian issue, if you look at this as a military issue, as you look at it as a moral issue, an ethical issue, whichever way you look at it, I can't see where the justification is.
there is none, which is why they have to make it a disputed issue. And in the U.S., they call this area this disputed territories. There's no dispute.
There's no dispute. There's no.
I mean, if the law comes down on your side, and you are in compliance with the law, there's no dispute. If you're in violation of it,
since when did ethnic cleansing become disputed?
exactly.
Since when did you ethnically cleanse an area and say there's some kind of dispute about this.
But again, the mythology around this was there was no displacement of people. But again, even Israeli historians acknowledge, of course,
Barry Morris, Avi Shlaim, Shlomo Sands, what's his name? So many. I mean, they I'm forgetting them names now, but the list is almost endless of Israeli historians.
Even right-wing
they actually call them the revisionists. They're trying to revise the history, right? And so what they do is they look at the history and they look carefully at not Palestinian records, but official Israeli documents to testify to what actually happened. So these are Israeli historians that are looking at declassified Israeli government documents to excavate what really happened. And some of them they're conservatives.
Benny Morris is a conservative right-wing nut job, but he says, yes, there was ethnic cleansing, yes.
But it was a good thing.
It's good.
Yeah, it's
because
good.
It's for a higher purpose.
I mean, we're going to come to an end on this, but I want to kind of, close it off by, we only played like 48 seconds of this. Yeah. And and I want to play the rest of Nadia, because I think Nadia needs a platform. I think people like Nadia are going to change this world.
Where did you get this video so people can go and watch it?
It's on Middle East Eye. It's on Middle East Eye. It's a short, it's like 1 minute 19. At the moment, there's been 786,000 views on this video.
Well, I think they played it on Democracy Now! That's where I saw it.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw it.
So I'm going to play the rest of this. And then, if there's some moment that, we feel we need to say something, we'll try. But this is Nadia. This is someone talking about what it means to be in occupied Gaza, what it means.
My family said they just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. Why does Muslims act for you like that? We're just kids. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair. It's not fair.
Now, the Israelis are using military jets provided by the U.S. They're using smart missiles, and they can hit a target, pinpoint a target. I'm just at a loss to even comment on why.
No. I mean, it really is, it's something that, me and Doug, what we were going to do, we were going to discuss different things, We were going to discuss our experiences in the West Bank, the history of the problem. And, we were going to try and connect this all. And then yesterday I phoned Doug and I said, we were just talking generally. He said, I watched this video. Was it you that said it or me? I think you said it.
I asked you about it, yeah.
Yeah, and I had seen it. And I said, you know what? We won't script this. He's got a script there of things that he wanted to say. And there were things that I wanted to say. And I said, well, do you know what we'll do? We'll just play this video. That's all you need to do. I mean, there is no need for anything else other than we just play the video. And from that, we'll be able to say something because it's too powerful. It literally is. I mean, if, I'm going to say this right straightforwardly. If that doesn't affect you on any level, you have checked out of your own humanity. You've checked out. You need help. You need help. If that doesn't affect you in any way, and you look at that and you're looking for people to blame and justifications and, that they deserve this or there's some kind of root cause to this that I need to know, you can listen to that. You've checked out, basically. You're a psychopath. You've lost the ability to connect to your own humanity. I really believe that. Anyone who can listen to this. You don't think so?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that says it all. Yeah. I mean, I'm listening to this. I'm thinking of the mechanisms that support this. And yeah, if if it doesn't affect you emotionally, yeah, I agree with you. But we've got to look at what we're doing as a society that would enable this and perpetuate it. And if you're in the U.S., I mean, your tax dollars are going for these missiles and these planes, and it's just got to stop.
It's got, and those words, we'll leave it there. It's got to stop. And you know what we'll do? We're out, you know. This has been difficult, by the way, you know, because I watch this stuff. Doug watches this stuff. We were there. And, you know, it's difficult. You know, it's difficult for me to watch it. I literally now, you know, don't want to see things. I feel that disempowered. But I know what she feels like, you know. You're like, you know, what is it you do? But, you know, there are things you can do. You can connect to this, you know. You can connect on a human level with this, you know. And you can begin to see and tell others, each one, teach one. She's doing it. And I think it's power. This is, it's never, governments aren't going to change this stuff. They're never going to change this stuff. It's what people are doing now with citizen journalism, with the protests, with the boycott divestment campaign, with this pushback against the propaganda, the misinformation. Yeah. Right?
That's right.
You know, like, this is what we need. We need people to connect and, you know, see, you know, call a spade a spade. You know, be away from this kind of, you know, like, it's anti-Semitic. They've tried everything in the book to literally stop the debate, to stop this about being about human beings.
And, you know, read up on it a little, you know. Zionism, which is at the root of this, is not Judaism.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are many Jewish religious scholars who condemn this.
Notori Carter being one. There's a whole movements of people that condemn this rubbish, this nonsense. You know, the people I follow, the people you follow, they're all Jewish intellectuals.
That's right.
Chomsky's Jewish, Finkelstein's Jewish, you know, all of the people that you follow who are literally vociferously against this occupation and this violation of human rights are Jewish. So how can it be that someone who speaks into this notion and this, you know, history as someone who just preserves the notion of human dignity is anti-Semitic? This is the debate that they've tried to create.
And the human rights organizations, if you want to dismiss the Palestinian ones for the moment, you can, but look at the Israeli ones.
Look at Beit Salem. Yeah, go to the Israeli, you know, the human rights organizations. Go, you know, I mean, empower yourself with this knowledge. You know, it's not enough, you know. A long time ago, I felt I needed to empower myself with knowledge. I just thought, you know, there comes a point in your life where you just need to see it. You need to experience. That's what I thought.
And question the leadership behind this. I mean, you know, it's easy to do in the U.S., as far as I'm concerned, to look at the leadership with a little bit of, you know, skepticism. But, you know, it's important to do that with Israel as well, and Palestine, anywhere.
Yeah.
Begin to question the motives. What would Netanyahu have to gain from this kind of attack? I mean, the guy's in jeopardy of losing power now. So,
well, with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this once more. I think it deserves, Nadia deserves a platform, you know. She deserves to be played over, and I salute her. We salute her, you know. There is a power in her voice. There is a power in her story. And there is something...
It's a purity of innocence.
Yeah.
Children tend to see the truth. Yeah. It's not clouded by abstracts. Right.
There ain't no political agenda there, you know, and there's a dignity in what she says, and there's something very, very human about him. And this is the story. This is in her 1 minute. That's all that's needed. You know, there's 1 minute of what she says. And if you have preserved any notion of dignity, of humanity, of any notion of connection, of empathy, of compassion, then what she should say should literally move the earth from under you, you know. So we're gonna say peace out. I'm gonna leave it with this, and till next time, increase the peace.
I'm always sick. I'm always I don't know. I can't do anything. see all of this. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10. I can't even do anything this morning. I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't. I'm just a kid. I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? My family said they just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. Why does Muslims act for you like that? We're just kids. You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just send a missile to them and kill them? It's not fair. It's not fair.